Hello and welcome to a special episode of the Atheist Humanist Show. We will start by highlighting some of the recent atheist news as provided by Atheist Republic. Their website will be linked in the description box below. Criminal trials exposed child marriage practices in Turkey. New research reveals that atheists are just as healthy as the religious. Political sponsorship of persecuted Iranian atheist Sohail Arabi. And people are wondering, does the technology undo the age-old curse from God? And now on the topic of today, in celebration of Darwin Day, also known as Darwin's birthday, we will briefly discuss Charles Darwin's evolution theory. The idea had started a long time, but it primarily changed from Charles Darwin, which wanted a logical and scientific way to discover how nature came to be. So he created the evolution theory, which revolutionized the biology industry highly. But that wasn't the start. According to this article by the National Geographic, which will be linked in the description box below as well, it was a Greek philosopher from 500 BCE, Anaximander speculated that because human babies are born helpless, humans must have descendants from another type of creature whose young could survive without assistance, and could survive without assistance. He deduced that those ancestors had to be fish, because fish hatch from eggs, and being living without assistance from their parents. Based on the logic, he proposed that all life began in the sea. The philosopher was correct, however, it wasn't a theory, as there was no way to tell it right or wrong. A theory is an idea about how something in nature works that has been rigorously tested to observations and experiments to prove the idea correct or incorrect regarding the evolution of life. Various philosophers and scientists, including an 18th century English doctor named Darwin, proposed various aspects of that would later become evolutionary theory. But it wasn't until Darwin's grandson, the more famous Charles Darwin, published his famous book on the origins of species that evolution became a scientific theory. Darwin and his scientific colleague Alfred Russel Wallace proposed that evolution occurs as a result of a phenomenon known as natural selection. According to natural selection theory, organisms produce more offspring than can survive in their environment. Those who are physically better equipped to survive, mature, and reproduce. Those who lack such fitness, on the other hand, either do not reach the reproductive age or produce fewer offspring than their counterparts. Natural selection is sometimes summed up as a survival of the fittest. The fittest organisms, those best adapted to the environment, and the ones who reproduce the most successfully, and the most likely to pass on their traits to the next generation. This means that an environment changes, so will the traits that help people survive in that environment. Natural selection was such an effective theory for explaining the evolution of life that it was accepted as a scientific theory. Since then, biologists have found numerous examples of natural selection influencing evolution. is now understood to be one of the several mechanisms by which life evolves. A phenomenon known as genetic drift, for example, can also cause species to evolve. In genetic drift, some organisms produce more offspring than would be expected by chance. Those organisms may not be fittest of their species, but their genes are passed down to the next generation. So that was a brief a general overview of the evolution theory by Charles Darwin. This has been Exo signing out. All of the links to my Discord servers and other social media sources will be linked in the description box below.